Hey, peace and blessings, everybody, man. It's your brother Sorry back with yet another one. Back like I never left. Peace to the true and living. If you tuned in, man, appreciate you for tuning in. You are the true and living, man. Nice to meet you. Um, we're gonna go over. We're back with these 48 laws of power. We up to the 13th law at this point. Um, let's see. Like I said, with when we dealing with TM, the true master material. Um, a lot of the 48 laws of power, we get into a lot of, different levels of manipulation. Me personally, I don't really pitch the TM stuff like in the vein of manipulation, but it's in there like ragu because it's based on martial arts. All that's gonna kind of come in there. So it's kind of based on the person how you use it. Okay, so 13th law of power, when asking for help, right? Appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude. Okay, and that will go back to the idea from the experiential. Everything always goes back to the observer, right? Everything you do goes back um, to you for some sort of physical or psychological benefit in the end. So you're doing everything you ever have done or will do is for you in some capacity. So that's a whole nother thing. So let's get into this a little bit, man. Um, let's see here. In this law, we deal with the idea of people who are not swayed by justice, reciprocity, gratitude, etc. They only serve their own self-interest. So basically, how do you even deal with a person who don't care about nothing but what's in it for them? You know what I'm saying? The with them, what's in it for them? Their own self-interest. Okay, in this case, we go back to what we learned in the eighth law of power. So last couple of videos we be kind of reflecting back on the eighth law of power. The eighth law of power, as it pertains to bait. It says the eighth law of power, they talk about drawing people to you and using bait and all that stuff like that. Um, in that, we kind of talked about the importance of principles and what principle does this person have a loyalty to, right? What principle do they have a loyalty to? What do they care about, basically, in their life? What do they care about? You see what I'm saying? Um, Understanding the principle gives us a window into their behavior, their motivation, and the symbols. Remember, we said symbols, anything you give your attention to, person, places, or things in this context, that are relevant to that person. You see what I'm saying? Um, when the behavior, just sort of like how we talked about a few minutes ago, when the behavior doesn't match the principle, there is an ulterior motive at play. When the behavior does not match the principle, there is an ulterior motive at play, which ties into the previous law, as well as the third law. You see what I'm saying? A person concealing their intentions. You see what I'm saying? The actual principles that they're governed by or whatever are masked. You see what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm disguising myself as a janitor. In 6 months, I pop out. Hey man, I got your original recipe. I got your recipe. I know how to make your fried chicken nice. So it's over. Your business is over. So that's you feel me. That's kind of what we talking about or whatever case may be. Um, let's see here. The idea of an ulterior motive or whatever case may be. The simplest example of that is if a person says they rock with you, you see what I'm saying, whatever that may look like, but they never contribute anything. They never contribute anything to nothing you got going on, not even information, and they only take. Then their actions would suggest that they don't rock with you, whatever that looks like. The theme, remember this, the theme or the mean or the average of their actions equate to usury. So when we say theme or, um, the principle or the mean or something like that, all of those are corollary concepts. Another level of the concept of love, we'll get into that, is agreement, right? So we're going back to the how do we appeal to somebody who doesn't care about, fair play or anything like that? You appeal to their self-interest. You see what I'm saying? If a person's a bloodthirsty, um, whatever, you see what I'm saying, and they only care about what they care about. praying and saying, man, please, this ain't right. This ain't right. This ain't the right thing. That ain't gonna work. The only thing that would work is if you appeal to their interest. That's why we're going into principles. You kind of identify what they care, the things that they care about. This is when you got time. I mean, if a person got a pistol to your head right now, that ain't really gonna be the move. But if you got time, space, and time and opportunity, or whatever, you discern what this person actually cares about, so you can actually kind of get on the page with whatever they're dealing with. So that brings us back into what we're talking about, the idea of love. Well, how did love even get into that? We talking about a bloodthirsty person with a pistol in my head. What we talking about? You see what I'm saying? Now, um, love comes into play, not mushy love, not the love between a man and a woman type love or whatever the case may be, but love from a metaphysical type of perspective, toward or away from type deal, or whatever, the primal aspect, the essence of love, or whatever the case may be. Another level of the concept of love is agreement. Agreement. In law, they say agree with your adversary before you get to court. Shout out to Texas, man. Shout out to that brother Yusuf L. I know he drilled that in a lot of people's heads over time. Um, that was one of his go-to phrases, man. Agree with your adversary before you get to court. You see what I'm saying? Because court is the end. You see what I'm saying? Court is the inevitable conclusion or whatever. The court is the paperwork. You see what I'm saying? The court is the paperwork you do before you actually get to the trial or the court proceeding in the actual courtroom, is what the brother was saying. So to align with their principles enough to align with their needs or their overall program is an aspect of love, right? Or agreement. You know what I'm saying? Love, which is the force in nature that binds things together. Love is the force in nature that binds things together, right? So when we get into the mindset of that, we're dealing with love as agreement, right? We're dealing with love in the sense of toward or away from, attraction or repulsion type deal. You see what I'm saying? When we get into these concepts, because when we talk about these concepts, we're gonna talk about them from various different layers. Because we often talk about in True Master that there there are things that have a scientific aspect to them, and those same things have an experiential counterpart to them. Like how they talk about, you know, I know they talk about the Higgs boson and all that now, but it's just a rehashing of the ether. All they doing is revamping the idea of the ether. But if we go back into the idea of the ether, or what have you, or whatever, the quantum soup, or whatever case may be, that particles come from, and all this stuff like that, or whatever case may be, it corresponds to the experiential notion of uncertainty. You see what I'm saying? Because our potentiality and our possibility come out of uncertainty. You know what I'm saying? Uncertainty is the creator, because uncertainty is infinite potentiality and stuff like that. So that's the things that we view in a certain light, they have an experiential counterpart to them. Okay, so I'm not saying that agreement is love in totality, because I know it's different types of love, and we can get in all that. But on a base, almost metaphysical level, love is agreement. You see what I'm saying? So in conclusion, let's see here. If there is no other common ground to agree upon, you can establish that common ground by appealing to a person's self-interest. Okay, why? Um, when we explore the idea of what's in it for me, right, the wisdom of it all, or whatever the case may be, wisdom, because whoever we're talking about, whoever, whatever we're talking about, in that person's worldview or perspective, it all eventually comes back to the observer. You see what I'm saying? Okay, everything you do it for you. You see what I'm saying? um, if it's if it's for your family fulfills some sort of space in your mind psychologically, like as in Maslow's hierarchy of needs or something, your desire to fit into society and all that stuff like that. Our family and people represent parts of us that I know I'm talking about your mind and in your head, but y'all just humor me. Um, I got another video about that, talk about the heart and talk about how your mind is not in your head. And I know I'm making all the gestures to the head or whatever case may be, but the different external things that we cater toward, you see what I'm saying? They represent different pieces of our psychological makeup. So if you do, so let's say like, you know, you go to work to feed your family or something like that, but your family holds a particular place in your psyche. You see what I'm saying? She's your daughter. That's your son. That's your wife, or whatever case may be. It's your stuff, or you're deeming ownership of it. So it has something to do with you. It always goes back to the observer. You see what I'm saying? Regardless. So that with them is kind of like a given. Okay, so because whoever we're talking about, and in that person's worldview perspective, it all eventually comes back to the observer. Their reasons for doing things, whether to fulfill physical or psychological needs, it starts and ends with the observer. So we'll get a little bit more into that in future videos, but we just want to kind of lay that down, and that's that 13th law of power, man. When asking for help, appeal to the person's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude, or whatever catch may be. Never to the mercy or gratitude, because that's a hit and miss. You see what I'm saying? You're kind of, it's kind of a toss up to whether that person is even moved by that. You see what I'm saying? You're going for a higher leverage point where you know that person's going to be moved. Okay, I know this person is from the desert, and I know that they, you know what I'm saying, they people don't have a lot of water or whatever the case may be. So I know water is a major commodity or whatever the case may be. Hey, bro, I can say I can hook you up with this, that, and the third, or whatever. I can build this. I got the infrastructure project that can build this. You know what I mean? This canal to this, you know what I'm saying, river that's 5 miles. You see what I'm saying? Help y'all people, your people get this water or whatever case may be faster or whatever case may be, feed your village or whatever. Oh, okay, bet. You know what I'm saying? Okay, well, we can make this deal, whatever case may be. You appeal to something that they care about. Basically what I'm saying. I know we went around the world to get to that point, but that's basically what I'm saying. Um, yeah. So that's all I got for today, man. Appreciate y'all for checking me out, man, on that 13th law of power. We'll get back into that in future videos, man. Peace and blessings, man. Peace and love.